Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, i.e. Moonday Tarot Part 2. Welcome back. My name's Kaylee. Welcome to my channel. Yesterday, I began a live, started going through the signs, got from Pisces to Leo, and then I had to go. So today I'm going to finish up talking about the eclipse from the perspective of each of the rising signs. So before I get into... Actually, hold on. Before I get into specific signs, I just want to start with a little bit of a recap about what the eclipse is going to bring us on a more general sense. And then I'll go Cancer, Gemini, Taurus, Aries. So if you're new here, welcome. At the end, there will be opportunities to pull a live reading if you are interested in that. Instructions for a live tarot reading are down in the description box. Also keep in mind, what's up, Chaos Knot? Keep in mind, if you book with me until the end of April, if you use the code Eclipse20 on checkout, you'll get 20% off any reading. And that can be applied for an astrology reading or a tarot reading. I'm down to do either, but you'll save more money if you do an astrology reading. Just putting that out there. What's up, Army? Oh, XE, thank you. What's up, XE? Alrighty, so the chart of the moment. It is Mars's day, hour of the moon. That's what I was looking at down here. So we got this nice little handy calculator. This is for magical timing. It is said if you plan your activities around the day and the hour, matching the energies of the planets to activities that you want to do, that you will be more successful. This is something that I've been playing with, that I haven't studied super intensely, but for me right now, where I'm at in Calgary, Alberta, we have 28 degrees of Cancer rising, with the moon actually culminating right now, so that's pretty cool actually. So I feel like that's appropriate for a Moonday part 2. I didn't plan that. That just happens to be how it worked out. So anyway, day of Mars, hour of the moon right now. So that's kind of neat. So appropriate, very appropriate for talking about Moonday part 2. Oh man, how do you pronounce that? Oh, Exy, yeah, you'll be okay, dude. You'll be okay. Alrighty, so I'm going to roll this forward to the eclipse, which will be tomorrow night. Dun, dun, dun. A couple more hours. Alrighty, so this eclipse, first eclipse of the year for us, will be in the very last degrees, the very last degree, literally 29 degrees and 50 odd minutes, 50 odd arc minutes of Aries. Very much bringing in this energy of new things and ending things. So what do I mean by that? Let me just give it one more hour. Well, first of all, this is the first eclipse that we're having on this Aries Libra axis. Right, the last eclipses that we've had have been in the Taurus Scorpio axis. There will still be another lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Actually, the full moon right after this will be right on this axis. It's actually going to be on my birthday, so it'll be fun. It'll be neat. But this is the first one that we've had on this axis. Now the nodes are technically still in Taurus and Scorpio, but it won't be very long now before they are officially in this Libra Aries axis. So essentially what we have here is the seeding of a new series of eclipses, a new 2-year period of eclipses on this axis. And it's also the launching of something, since this is a cardinal fire sign. Cardinal meaning essentially there are 4 cardinal signs, right? Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. These signs, the energy of cardinal kicks off something. It begins something. It marks the turning and the beginning of a new season. Regardless of which hemisphere you're in, the cardinal signs correspond to the beginning of a new season. We won't see it in North America. We'll feel it, but we won't see it. Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, we won't see it in North America. It'll be at night. Now, I was looking at this. I was looking at this map. Oh, that's really low. That's really little. I was looking at this map, and I'm wondering if Hawaii will see it. Hawaii might. They might see a partial eclipse. Because Hawaii's like up there. But Indonesia, Taiwan will see it a little bit. Australia will see at least a partial eclipse if you're in the very, very northeast, very far northeast part of Australia. You'll probably see it. Is more of a total eclipse, whereas the rest of Australia will see a partial eclipse, but North America won't see it. It'll be happening at night for us. But yeah, like Hawaii might see a partial eclipse because they're like over here. So I don't know. They might be too far away from the eclipse path, but regardless, we will see it. Or no, we won't see it. Sorry, we will feel it. My bad. All right. So a couple things with this eclipse, and of course, this is just a recap of what I said yesterday, so probably not going to go into as many details, but we have Jupiter within 6 degrees of this eclipse, right? So Jupiter has just infused the sun and the moon with this super confident, I'm going to stick with the word confident, the super confident and brave energy, right? Jupiter's been expanding this area of our chart for the last little while, this Aries area. And as the sun and the moon connect for our second new moon, this one being an eclipse, but our second new moon in Aries, it's really helping us really seed in and kick off and initiate something in our lives, right? Now, this eclipse and this new moon cycle, I think it's important to note, like, for a lot of people, we might not notice something happen externally. We might not notice something that happened that's super obvious. Sometimes these eclipses and these lunation cycles bring about an internal adjustment, an internal change, or it's much more subtle. Um, especially I think, especially if the eclipse itself doesn't aspect anything directly in your chart. So that's definitely something to keep in mind as we're going through eclipse season and talking about it and stuff. There's no reason to necessarily panic or be really anxious about it. What's going to happen is going to happen. And and oftentimes, especially with astrology, we'll get really hyped up about some particular transit that's happening. And it's really easy for us to think of all of the worst case scenarios. Let's try to think of some of the best case scenarios as well, right? What are some of the positive ways that this can work out? And roll with that, because we see these transits coming up and we stress about them and worry about them. Just as speaking from the perspective of an astrologer, right? And then the transit will come and pass, and it was like, that was it. I worked it up in my head to be so huge, and then that was it. So keep that in mind, all right? Now, with it happening in the martial, fiery, dramatic sign of Aries, this is going to be a game changer. The eclipse is also squaring Pluto within a degree. As soon as the eclipse happens, Moon rolls over into Taurus, immediately squares Pluto, and within a few hours, the Sun moves into tropical Taurus and squares Pluto. So, regardless, there's very transformational, regenerative quality to this eclipse cycle. That's it's no joke. It's no joke. So we're going to definitely see some pretty big changes. Now they say, in a lot of more ancient texts that where the shadow of the eclipse passes when it's a solar eclipse, that area of the world experiences much more dramatic eclipse effects. So because of that, I myself and you guys as well, if you'd like to track this with me, keep an eye out on like what's happening in this part of the world over the next few months. Like I said I almost said last night. Like I said yesterday, there are different ways, different ideas to measure how long the effects of an eclipse will last. Some sources say that it is directly related to how long the eclipse actually is. This one, they're estimating that it will be 1 minute 16 seconds for the total, the duration of the total eclipse. So it kind of, so some sources would take that and multiply it by a certain number, and that's how many months or how many weeks the eclipse can be said to last for. Some sources say until the next eclipse. Some astrologers will say like 3 months or 6 months and just give a blanket like a blanket number. I'm not sure. I'm still testing this out. So I would I'd love some input. What have you guys heard? Right? I've heard different things, different ideas. I'm not sold on any of them. So we'll see. Hello, what's up, Jenny? Cat, I'm ready. Word. Alrighty. So back to this. Another thing to take into consideration while looking at this eclipse is where is Mars? Where is the host of the eclipse? So the host meaning the planet that rules the sign that the eclipse is taking place in. So for this one, being that it's Aries, we have to look at where Mars is. Mars is in Cancer. Now, this is considered to be a more difficult, quote unquote, difficult or challenging placement for Mars. It's considered to be the place of Mars's detriment. Now, these are scary words. Of course, with every placement, with every single placement. Even if it's considered to be an especially brutal one, there is always more positive ways that it can play out. Mars in Cancer is very protective. It is very quick to defend, especially if there's a perceived or real attack upon that individual's tribe or family or identity, right? Because Cancer is the family. And I gave a few examples yesterday about how a Mars in Cancer family could kind of play out, right? This could be sports teams, and and since Cancer has such interesting ties to like ancestry and familial lines and stuff like that, this can quite literally be like there's an attack upon my family, and this is like Mama Bear energy, right? Very quick to defend, and also, have you ever been in between a bear cub and mom? It's a very scary place to be. It's lethal, right? So Mars and Cancer. So really interesting. However, this can be a very emotionally charged eclipse, right? We have this Mars in a very psychic and emotional sign, with a supercharged eclipse right next to Jupiter. So lots of cardinal energy going on here. And then, of course, with the square to Pluto, we just add in this element of extremes, this element of power and control and rebirth and regeneration. So pretty big, pretty big words, pretty big themes for our first eclipse of the year. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, yeah. That is a very good question. Does it affect where Mars is in our personal charts? Um, yeah, because this is affecting the Aries, the Aries house of your chart, right? So it is definitely linked to where your Mars, where your personal Mars is. So that would be very. I would say it depends on your personal chart. I would have to take a look to really see. But yes, absolutely. Could think about it this way. If Mars, okay, so the planets are like the actors, all right? The house is the particular area of life or the stage. And the sign is the flavorings and the set design of that stage. So whatever's happening in a particular area of life in the Aries house does affect how that actor is acting and what he's doing. But to keep it simple for the sake of a live stream on YouTube, it's way too complicated for me to go into all of those placements. Um, but I would say like we can take a look at your chart personally if you'd like. And right now I am just kind of speaking generally. So that's a thing. Alrighty. Do do do. Ah, that's okay, Jenny. I don't have anything funny or fancy going on the screen anyway. I love that you're sitting outside though. I'm jealous. It's it's nice to sit outside, but it's still like sweater weather here. Yeah. Alrighty. So let's see. What else do I want to say about this? The day after, as soon as we have this eclipse, the very next day, Mercury will turn retrograde. Mercury will be right next to Uranus. It'll be a degree and a half to about a degree and a half to 2 degrees away from Uranus. Very close, close enough for that to be felt. So at 15 degrees and some odd minutes, Mercury turns retrograde, and we'll go back to the 5th degree of Taurus and then turn direct again. During that time frame, while Mercury is retrograde, and actually it's yeah, while Mercury is retrograde, we'll have the second eclipse, which will be the full moon in Scorpio. And then right after that, as soon as Mercury is turning direct, Jupiter moves into Taurus. So pretty jam-packed next couple of weeks. It's going to be definitely interesting watching all of this play out. And now let's get to our signs. It's snowing in Idaho right now. Yo, that's wild. Okay, I take that back. It's nicer here. Alrighty. So with all that fun stuff, let us talk about our last four signs here. And then, of course, like I said, if you want me to pull a personal card for you, definitely hit me up. I'm actually going to turn on my ticker. Boom, boom, boom. Alrighty, so Cancer. Cancer, how have you guys been doing? You have had the Mars now in your sign for a little bit. I hope you're adjusting well to that. With this eclipse, it's actually going to be happening in your 10th house. 10th house is the house of your career, of your obligations to the public, your obligations to some authority figure. But really, ideally, we're looking at our career and our relationship with authority in general with this particular house. I would not be surprised to see some fairly dramatic shifts in your career life. Considering Jupiter has been in here, I mean, this could like quite literally be having you feel like you're a little bit lucky. Having the Mars in your first house, since he rules the 10th house, it's definitely been giving you some extra oomph, some extra drive towards making changes in your career if that's what you need to do. Mars and Aries, but Mars in particular has a reputation for cutting away, right? For cutting away, destructing things before rebuilding them. One of the ways to look at this is that there is a major like renovation reconstruction project going on, but it's not happening at home. It's happening internally with you, but also through your career, right? So, what you're doing in the public eye, this is where this eclipse is taking place. Now, the previous new moon in Aries, you began something, you began maybe actually literally for some of you a new job or something like that, or just taking on more responsibilities, right? Increasing responsibilities is definitely a 10th house thing, right? But this new moon, this is an eclipse, so there's going to be something really something changing here. So definitely something to think about. And I could definitely see this playing out as like you are literally just taking on more responsibilities and have to take care of your career a little bit more closely, or manage some of the huge expansion that you've had recently. Big shifts, absolutely. All right, wearing red today in honor of Mars's Day. I actually didn't plan that. I just really love this shirt, and it just happens to be a good day for it. All right, Cancer. So first card out is the Eight of Cups. It's interesting because with the Eight of Cups is actually literally there's an eclipse right on the card. But it's talking about leaving something behind in order to go on a quest for something that's actually fulfilling, right? That's actually spiritually and emotionally fulfilling. The next two cards that came out are the King of Pentacles and the Two of Cups. So that's kind of interesting. Cancer, it's like you've been trying to actively cut away things from your life, things that have been maybe pulling you backwards or pulling you down, when really the expansion that you want to really to really reach towards is there's been something calling you. You have a calling, maybe. There's some overarching goal that you've been reaching towards and trying to move towards. And it's like there's been this internal process going on over the last few months, actually over the last several months, while Mars was retrograde in your 12th sign, where there's things that you needed to cut away, things that you needed to let go of, bad habits maybe, um, or maybe there was actually just a lot of fears that you needed to shift away from. This is what you're letting go of, allowing these things to go, to be released, right? As I was saying, Mars is often associated with a destructive process before the construction or reconstruction can begin. This is where you're walking away from, and you're reaching towards something that is actually emotionally satisfying, something that is actually spiritually satisfying, and something that will bring you a lot of long-term stability. That's the King of Pentacles. Long-term stability, and an opportunity for a really beautiful heartfelt connection. I love the heartfelt connection. I think that's really nice. I didn't that's a nice surprise for me. I like it because I didn't necessarily see that right away in the chart, but you never know. I mean, Mars, let's not forget, also rules Scorpio, traditionally speaking, and this is your 5th house ruler. So there's something here about as you expand in your career and go after this goal that you've had and reach for this area that Jupiter's been helping you expand on, and you're finally like feeling stable within yourself, it's like then romance can spark again. That's kind of what I'm picking up with that. I like that. That's really cool. So that's kind of badass. I like that. Underneath the deck we have the 9 of Wands, the Lord of Great Strength. This is a reminder. You have been through a lot, Cancer. This has been a challenging period. But that challenge is only making you stronger. It's only making you more determined, more disciplined in your approach. Um, don't forget that you have other people around you that you can lean on for support. There's other people around you that you can ask for assistance if you need to. Don't forget to ask for help if you need it. Okay, so good luck on this eclipse. I think it's going to be a fun one for you guys. Um, and yeah, don't be afraid to ask for assistance if you need it. Yeah. Gemini. All right, Gemini. For you guys, this eclipse is happening in your 11th house. So the 11th house, right here, this has to do with our wider social network, our friend groups, some of the groups or organizations that we might belong to. You can think of this house as like your social reach, right? Especially for you guys, Gemini. How far do your posts reach? What's your audience? That's your Aries house. So so with this eclipse here, again, this is like the second new moon in the sun with Jupiter here, but it's an eclipse. So we're talking about major changes in some of the groups that you belong to. Now, let's not forget, of course, Mars has this both destructive and constructive ability to it, or nature to it, I should say. So as you are trying to build on your reach, build your social network, you might actually find that there are some friend groups that you might need to cut out or occult from your life, right? That's what an occultation is. It's hiding things, it's taking them away. This is something that we see temporarily in the sky, but has a very lasting effect on us. What's up, Charlotte? Glad you could join us today. So with that said, don't be afraid to release different groups or organizations or associations if that's what it's going to take in order to help you build even better ones, even better associations, even better groups, right? Somehow this is also playing into your self-worth and maybe even your resources. So something about the 11th and 12th or second house, an additional way to look at this is this has to do with money. With Mars in the second house, it's easy to, it's like money comes in easily. Like you have this passion, this burning desire, or this ability and willpower to make more, but it's also easy to spend it. Like it's burning a hole in your pocket. You know what I mean? Like literally, Mars is burning a hole in your pocket, second house. So, so that's definitely a thing. But with the 11th house, we're talking about our long-term investments and rewards, like rewards and honors that we receive from work. Like if you ever get like bonus checks or commission checks or stuff like that, that's 11th house. Um, a raise, that's 11th house. So it's like there's this wish that you've made at some point in time. There was a wish that you made, like you know, have you ever tried to manifest money? I don't necessarily recommend this, but if you ever tried to manifest money, like I've seen some practices where you write an amount on a check, and like of course you still have to take actions, right? You still have to do the necessary things, build the necessary budget, and take the necessary actions in order to actually earn that money, right? It doesn't just come out of nowhere, but it's like you've made some kind of wish, and this is planting a seed to help you obtain that wish. So kind of fun. Um, as I split the deck, there's the Nine of Pentacles. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So where do you want to see yourself in, say, 5 to 10 years, as far as your like social status goes? I know a lot of you here don't really care about that, but yeah, then again, I split the deck and there's the Queen of Wands, so maybe you do. Where do you want to see yourself? What kind of influence do you want to have? Um, or not even want to have, it's like sometimes we have way more or much more impactful influence than we even realize or even want to have. But then again, this is Aries, the Aries house. So there is some kind of desire there to have some kind of influence. And Jupiter here is really only expanding that. So that eclipse is like, all right, now it's time to take some serious actions on this area. Um, so yeah, definitely, okay, quick recap, be mindful of how you're spending your money, but also there's certain actions that you can take right now, certain things that you can do for yourself right now that will increase both how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your self-worth. And perhaps there's some groups, some associations, or some rewards that you can obtain by putting in those actions and putting in that serious effort. Mars and Aries, this is about effort. Keep in mind, though, that there may be some groups or some associations or some friends that might be occulted out of your life at this time. And if that is the case, rejoice, really rejoice, because they're making room for further growth. All right. What do we have for Gemini? Okay, that card really wanted to come out. We got the Five of Cups and Justice. And the World card. Damn. Okay. All right, Five of Cups and Justice. That's kind of neat. We're talking about an 11th house transit, and you have the 11 card that just came out. So that's interesting. All right. So with the Five of Cups, like I said, if there are some associations or some friends or some kind of group or collective that you belong to that it's time to leave. Oh, Charlotte, yeah. Then it's time. It's time. Grieve their passing. Well, okay. Uh, hopefully that's not literal, but anytime you lose any kind of relationship, there is a grieving process, right? There is a grieving process that happens. Embrace that process, allow that energy to flow, and maybe take a little bit of extra time around the eclipse. So tomorrow, Thursday, just take a little bit of time for quiet contemplation and see how things unfold, and then make a decision. Because justice is definitely encouraging a a a strong and decisive decision. How do I say that? Justice is encouraging a not necessarily like a prompt decision, but a solid decision, right? And cat, there really is no certain way to shuffle. Every tarot reader has their own particular unique way of doing it. Yeah. Um but yeah, and I mean Charlotte, that's a tough age. But at the same time, like if you if you want to be authentic, right? If you want to see yourself going in a very certain direction, if you have goals in life and the people around you do not align to those goals in life, then you're not going to go towards those goals, right? They're going to pull you back. And the world card is talking about mastery, all right? This is talking about mastery. The world card is endings and beginnings. So, like I was saying, the people or the groups or the associations that are being eclipsed out are making way, making room for something better to grow there, right? Something, oh, literally greenhouse growing. That's amazing. I love that. Um, it's it's making room, right? It's making room for something better. Uh, and that is kind of the nature of eclipses, right? When they do affect us deeply, because like I said, not every single one will affect you really deeply. Sometimes it's very subtle. Um, but when it does affect you very deeply and you do have a crisis moment because of an eclipse or triggered by an eclipse, I wouldn't necessarily blame the eclipse itself. It's more like your karmic contracts, and the eclipse is just like, okay, it's time now. Um, so when a crisis event does occur, there's always a reorientation along your path towards where you're actually meant to be going. So don't fear this process. Don't be anxious about this process. Allow the emotions to come and allow them to flow and allow that grieving process to take place because um, Gemini, as soon as you do, it's like, all right, now I know what to do. Now I know the right direction. Now I know how to balance this situation out so that I can move forward with grace. And as you're moving forward with grace, you're gaining mastery. Um, that ending is making room for a new beginning. So it's just going to be really important to be honest with people about how you're feeling. Yeah. Also, you don't get what you don't ask for. Okay, so if there's something that you really want to gain, right? Because we're talking about the house of like wishes and rewards and stuff. So if you're working in a place where it's like, all right, I actually should be making more, then ask for it, right? Ask for it. You don't get if you don't ask. Okay, Taurus. So Taurus, this eclipse is happening in your 12th house. Doo-doo-doo-doo. So that's interesting. An eclipse in the 12th house. This is more likely to be fairly subtle. Now, the 12th house is associated with isolation, with quiet time, right? Like meditation, sleeping, and also like foreign travel. Why foreign travel? Well, when you go to a place where the culture is different, the language is different, you don't know anybody there, you all of a sudden you're fairly isolated until you learn how to speak the language and the culture, right? So, interesting stuff with the 12th house. Um, house is sometimes associated with some more darker topics like our own self-undoing, self-sabotage. It can be associated with like addiction or being locked up or feeling like you're trapped, right? So there's definitely some not nice associations with this. However, this is also a very spiritual house. And often, often, I won't say always, but often, there are certain events that take place in life that make us feel trapped, or we were suddenly isolated, right? The dark night of the soul. And this can be a spiritual rebirth, right? So with Jupiter here, with the eclipse being here, I would not be surprised if people with heavy Taurus placements, but specifically Taurus rising, are having some very vivid dreams right now. Um, yeah, would not be surprised. Personally, I actually have been having really vivid dreams lately. I'm not a Taurus rising though. But anyway, definitely something to watch out for. And if you are having really intense dreams, write them down, right? Write them down. Have that little bit of something to meditate on. An eclipse in the 12th house, really this axis, this 12th, 6th axis has a lot to do with our mental, spiritual, and physical health. So often I find if your sleep is getting disturbed or you're really struggling with something, yeah, word. I don't know why. I don't know why. Anyway, if your sleep is getting disturbed or you just feel like you need to take a little bit of extra time to yourself, don't be afraid to do that, right? Honor that. Uh, honor that need for rest. Yeah. Now with Mars being in your third house, kind of interesting. It's like somehow these 12th house themes are playing out in your local neighborhood. The third house is associated with like your neighborhood, siblings sometimes, transportation, but also like the tools and the skills that you develop. So it could actually be Taurus that there's stuff going on in the astral, in the spiritual, in your subconscious that's encouraging the growth and the development of certain tools, certain maybe emotional or like quite literally, you could be learning how to develop different emotional tools or emotional based tools in order to cope with psychological stuff, psychological ish, right? That's one way of looking at this. Or it could be psychic tools, right? And it's a lot of things in the third house that can be associated with it. And with Mars, I don't know, with Mars, there's always this like this sensation and this idea of cutting away and destructing, but also building. So perhaps this eclipse is actually helping you to do a little bit of esoteric surgery, a little bit of psychic surgery, where you're taking some of these deeply seated psychological fears, right? Especially with Jupiter there helping you out, some of these deeply seated psychological fears, and you're somehow flushing them, somehow getting rid of them. Yeah, if you find yourself with a little bit of extra time tomorrow and you want something to do to assist with this 12th house stuff, I would design some kind of ritual or some kind of ceremony using fire and water, right? And I am kind of saying this to everybody, but specifically Taurus, because this is happening in your 12th house. Utilize some of that psychic energy with some kind of like water fire combination ceremony, okay? And then get ready for the Mercury retrograde, which is going to be great, actually. I think it's a very positive retrograde to have one in your first house. Okay, so anyway. But yeah, Jenny, I don't know why Dreamtime is so crazy right now. Floating candles in the bathtub. Boom. There you go, Kat. I like that. I love bringing candles into the bathroom when I'm having a tub. When I'm having a tub. When I'm having a bath. Yeah. Or you could like you could write some things down on paper and then set it on fire and then put it out with water. Or an idea that Romy gave me, actually, I think it was Roman, to make your own ink, with something. And that's engaging the water element, right? And then writing it down is actually engaging the air element, but still you're using an ink that you made, which is kind of badass. Uh, and then setting it on fire is using both fire and air again because of the smoke, right? Um, so anyway, there's lots of different ways to play with those two elements. Um, but I like the idea of the bathtub, especially because it's like you can meditate while you're in the bathtub. That's really engaging the 12th house a lot. What's up? Hey, Mari. Artist seer in the house. All right, Taurus, what do we got for you for cards? Also, happy early birthday. Oh, yeah. This is perfect. Oh my gosh, Taurus. Okay. I don't know how this happened, but y'all got really lucky. Uh, I like it. You know what? This is probably just a nice little sneak peek about Jupiter in your sign, okay? But let's focus in on this eclipse first, all right? So first two cards that came out for you, Taurus, are the Hermit and the Ace of Wands. So this is like, please take my advice, okay? Please take my advice. Have a little bit of quiet time to yourself. Honor that space, that ceremony space. Definitely engage with the fire element for sure. You know, you could like meditate with a candle or with a couple candles, you know, like do something with the element of fire and do something specifically on your own in a quiet space because it's going to be inspiring, it's going to be invigorating, and it's going to really assist you with connecting back to yourself in a way that maybe you've been avoiding or neglecting. Then you got the Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. So that's what I'm like. I don't know how that happened. I'm down with it though. I'm down with it though. That's badass. The Nine of Pentacles and the Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles is talking about some new opportunity coming in that is either literally material in nature, like literally a new material thing, or an opportunity for you to expand your influence, to expand your presence, or to really help with your physical health in some way. The Nine of Pentacles is like reaching some point of like financial independence. So like literally, these are freaking great cards, especially for you, Taurus. And I think that the big key here is to go back to this Hermit card. Go back to this Hermit card. Honor the space that you're in right now. Honor the rest that your body is calling for. Because as we're moving into Taurus season in 2 days, as we're moving into Taurus season, it's going to be like all systems go. Then when Jupiter moves into your sign, into your sign May 15th, it'll be like definitely time to expand influence and all of the things. So use this time now wisely. Play with the fire element for sure. And I kind of feel like also, just bringing the chart back up real quick, I kind of feel like also be mindful about this Mars in the third house energy right now. It could be really, really easy to say something that you don't mean, or to say something that is especially cutting or cruel. So be very mindful of that. And, you know, if it's nice, if it's not nice, maybe just don't speak it for a little bit, you know? And yeah, I just be careful what you wish for. We'll just say that. Be careful what you wish for. Aries. So Aries, second new moon in your sign. This one's an eclipse. fun. Fun. So, first eclipse in the series that will be along your first and seventh house axis. This is going to be very strongly felt by anybody that is an Aries rising, that has an Aries sun, or a significant placements in Aries, but definitely Aries rising. This is going to be a big one. Why is this a big one? Well, all of the reasons that I just stated, but Jupiter's right there. So you guys have been experiencing this really nice Jupiter in the first sign energy of increased vitality, increased confidence, increased and I mean, for an Aries rising, increased confidence can be both a good thing and detrimental. So I don't know. I'm curious about how you guys are doing with that, right? Has that gotten you into trouble at all, or have you been managing that energy in a responsible way? I don't know. You guys tell me. But you know what's really funny? I met someone just the other week that told me that they were an Aries rising, but they never felt very Aryan. And I asked her where her Mars was. And she didn't know, and I was like, "That's probably why. You need to know where your Mars is." So it makes a big difference on how that Aries energy expresses itself. So where's Mars for this eclipse? Mars is in the fourth house. So even though all eyes are on you, this is a very potent eclipse, right? Very last degree. So there's bound to be some challenges inherently with it. And, right with Jupiter. Mars is in your fourth house in Cancer. So, yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. It's like, I don't feel very Aryan. Well, where's your Mars? Mars in Pisces. That'll do it. So Mars in the 12th house in Pisces is like, yeah, it's not the stereotypical Aries rising. And that's a really interesting statement. Thank you for saying that, Jenny, because Pisces and Aries are right next to each other. And it is said in traditional astrology that these signs are blind to one another. They cannot see each other. So literally, you do struggle to see your Aries rising, even though it actually fits you really well. Anyway, I love it. Okay, back to you guys, Aries. So anyway, Jupiter in your sign, expanding all the things. I freaking love it. It's definitely helping this eclipse, which is great. It's also playing out in your home life though. So this is interesting. Because Mars rules you, Mars is your chart ruler, you have had an increased focus on rooting down. Maybe even some of you looking into some of your own ancestry, but really like questioning, all right, where am I living? Do I want to literally root down here? Is this where I want to settle? And maybe even like just dealing with increased things going on with the family. So this eclipse can just kind of like bring some of that stuff to a head. Yeah, I could just bring some of that stuff to a head. Oh. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. How else can this play out for you guys? I mean, obviously, this is going to be much more potent if your rising sign, or if your rising degree, rather, is a lot closer to this. So, like in the last 5 degrees of Aries, or if you have your sun in the last like 5 degrees of Aries, it's definitely going to be more impactful than not. But still, eclipse in the first house, it can definitely bring like some really serious shifts in your life in general, because the first house deals with not just your physical body, but also with like the archetype that you're learning to embody in this lifetime, the lessons that you're learning to embody in this lifetime. Which is why when people say stuff like, I don't feel like my rising sign, that is literally part of it. You're learning these lessons, you're learning to embody this. Oh, that's cool, actually. I like that. A natal Mercury return. That's fun. Okay, so anyway, Um, so this eclipse, right? It can bring some pretty big changes in what you're doing with your life. But it's quite likely that it will play out on a much more internal basis, right? It'll just be more like how you feel about yourself or how you feel some of your deeper, more hidden emotions. This is the fourth house. Some of your deeper desires might go through some dramatic shifts, right? Not a bad thing, right? Not a bad thing at all. Sometimes we need some challenging situations to present us with opportunities to cut away some like self-limiting beliefs or some to make like serious changes and have this like reconstruction process take place on our like internal psyche basis. Anyway, so that's kind of cool. What do we got for cards? Oh, so then the question is, where is your sun? If you're a Leo rising, where is your sun? I'm gonna teach you all traditional astrology before I die. Okay, it's happening. You'll never look at horoscopes the same. uh, Cat, me too. I wish I knew all of it. Oh, Sun in Pisces. Yo. Leo rising, Sun in Pisces. So Sun in the eighth house in Pisces. That's a that's a fun combo. It is geometry. It is geometry. Sacred geometry. I fucking love geometry. Okay, it was my favorite math thing ever. I had no idea that I would be using it in real life like this. It was like, this seems like the most useless shit while you're in school, and then here I am. I'm like, oh, that's a 60-degree angle. Yeah. All right. Oh my gosh, I made Aries wait a whole nother day, and now I'm like, no, I need to shuffle more. I'm sorry, Aries. I'm sorry. Oh gosh. Alrighty. What do we got for your Aries for cards? Let's see. What kind of reconstruction process is going down for you? Oh, okay. Knight of Wands, Moon, Devil card. Damn. Hot, hot diggity damn. Sorry, I'm not laughing at your cards. Um, I'm laughing at a meme that just popped into my head. It has nothing to do with the astrology at all, so I'm not going to repeat it. Okay, so anyway, Knight of Wands, the Moon, and the Devil card. Mm. All right, so there's you. Being your usual badass Aryan self, okay? Jumping into battle. Not being afraid to do the thing and get the points, right? The Knight of Wands is very courageous. They're very brave. They're often ideologically motivated as well. And I don't mean ideologically motivated extremists. No, no. Although maybe, maybe. Right now, I have to know your muse. Okay, it's from a video. is this dude walking into his house, and there's a wiener dog, and he's got a hot dog in his mouth, and he's like, Sam, you got a hot dog, buddy. And the dog's just like, his whole fucking body's wiggling. He's so excited about this hot dog. Anyway, oh man, this is you. You got a hot dog, buddy. Oh my gosh. Oh man. So yeah, Aries is something you're really excited about. Like the wiener dog with the hot dog. He's really excited about his wand, okay? Um, don't know what you're doing with it yet. Hopefully you're applying it in, a great area, and I think you are. And then you got the moon, and then you got the devil card. Oh, what's going on? What's going on? So moon talks about secrets, hidden things. Um, and then we got the devil card, which is talking about responsibility and the possibility of toxicity. So my question was, what are you tearing down so you can reconstruct? What is ending so that you can begin anew? And for you guys, Aries, since this is involving your first house and your fourth house being about your deep, hidden desires, your deeper hidden emotions, the fourth house can be seen as like who you are when you feel completely safe. This is a hidden process that's going on. So on the surface, you might be very or feeling very passionate and invigorated and fired up, but underneath the surface there's something deeper going on. Something where you are being encouraged to really harness your own willpower. And where are you using that willpower? How are you using that willpower? Are you using it in a responsible way? Is it coming out sideways? One of the challenges of Mars and Cancer is that that Mars energy wants a direct route, but Cancer is not a direct sign. The crab walks fucking sideways, okay? So we have to find creative ways and creative outlets for that Martian energy. So the cards here are encouraging you to really harness that Mars energy and apply it in responsible ways. To take that willpower and use it to build up something rather than just tear down. There might be something that you need to cut out that's toxic. There might be something, drink some water. Yeah, haha, hilarious. Haha, hilarious. Be responsible. Let's drink alcohol. No. Water. Oh my gosh, Kimberly, yesterday, that looks like moonshine. Okay. Seriously though. But seriously, Aries, there's something here about needing to cut out something potentially toxic or something that's potentially holding you back in some way. You have the necessary willpower to overcome this. It's just that, might not be a very comfortable process, right? Mars in the fourth house in Cancer is not a very comfortable position for Mars. But at the same time, it's like there's something that's been buried and it's time for it to be exhumed. All right, we're exhuming bodies. All right, Aries, that's what you're doing. So there's something you've got to dig up so that you can get rid of it. And this is metaphorical, of course, but maybe it's literal. I don't know. You never know with Aries. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's important to pay attention to your intuition as well, right? Be paying attention to your dreams. Write them down. Even if they seem incredibly insignificant, write them down anyway. There's often symbols and metaphors in our dreams that can be really informative about what we're doing in the real world, right? For example, this doesn't relate to your cards or astrology, but it does relate to the moon card. I have had a couple of dreams recently where my boyfriend was like discouraging me from taking a particular job, but it actually turned out that I was getting offers for places that were like I was selling myself extremely short. Like I'm way fucking overqualified for these positions, but that's what was reaching back. And it was like in my dream I was really mad, but in reality it was like, okay, no, you actually have a point. I'm mad at you, but you're right. And then within a couple of days of turning down something that was way below what I should be doing, all of a sudden I have an interview tomorrow for somewhere that I'm actually really excited to work for. So it's something like that. It could be insignificant. It might not seem like it's much. It might not make any sense in the moment, or it might be like something that actually makes you really angry. But sometimes that anger is fantastic fuel, right? Sometimes that anger, that passion, can be the necessary thing that gets you off of your butt, gets you moving, and helps you to succeed in an area where you otherwise might not have. This is one way that we can harness that Mars energy, that willpower energy, because anger is a very necessary emotion. I find this hilarious that I'm preaching this on Mars's day. Okay, I think this was very appropriate to wait, but um, no emotion is evil, right? No emotion is bad. It's just how we use it and how we respond to that. If we bury our anger, right? Mars and traveling through the fourth house, if we bury our anger, it's going to come out sideways and what I like to call a shadow sneak attack. So don't bury your anger. Definitely find ways to express it in healthy ways. And you fucking got this, Aries. You fucking got this. Okay? Oh gosh. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that joke, but yeah. I've definitely woken up angry at my boyfriend and been like, "Oh, that was not real life. Sorry, baby. Hi." Uh, it's happened. What's up, Mel? I'm glad you're laughing. Yeah, exactly, right? Like do not sell yourself short. Do not sell yourself short. So yeah, I just thought it was funny. So it was mad at him, but he was right. And it wasn't even a real life conversation. It was dream him. So I was like, okay. All right. So that was Cancer to Aries. Sweet. Does anybody want a personal reading? I am here. I've got a few hours. I'm just chilling. If you want me to pull a card for you or a few cards for you, instructions are on the ticker and also in the description box below. Please keep in mind that I am running a special until the end of April, 20% off an astrology reading. Get in there, book before the end of April. Um, Also, my birthday's coming up, so for my birthday, you can get a reading. All right. Yeah, that's so funny. Oh gosh. Yeah. Yep. And I don't know, it's sometimes it's like those conversations that you have in your dream is like something that you need to say in real life, you know? Or it's a conversation that you need to have in real life. Not always, but sometimes, yeah. Okay. My birthday is May 5th. So the lunar eclipse in Scorpio is happening on my birthday. I'm like, it's fine. I'll be fine. It's fine. I'm actually excited. I'm not gonna lie. I'm ready for changes. So okay. Yeah. What else do you guys want to talk about? Do you want to talk about the Mercury upgrade coming up? Mercury retrograde coming up. Or I can just chill with you guys. We can talk about Oh, I'm glad, dude. I'm glad. It's a pleasure to work with you. Not sure not sure what the upgrade is. Well, me neither. I just made that up. Um I don't know. I feel like Mercury retrograde periods are an upgrade of that house, right? I don't think I have enough time to go through each sign right now. Maybe I do. Maybe I do. I didn't really plan this. I kind of going off the fly here, but Okay, you gotta tell me how to pronounce this, dude. Is it Rama? Do I add an extra A in there? Is it Rama? Is it Ma? Could I call you SB? Anyway, question: what do you think is the most empowered or highest use of a birth chart? Ooh, I like this question. This is a great question. Okay, so there are definitely schools of thought out there, astrology schools and just other esoteric schools that believe that the birth chart is a blueprint for your life, but that you can transcend that. Um, I'm kind of like, I'm a little bit on the fence about that. I think that there are definitely certain things in the birth chart that we're meant to overcome and move through and not experience again. But I kind of actually see it as like, it's just describing the literal karmic conditions that you incarnated into. So it shows like the conditions and like what your parents were doing and how they impacted you. It shows if you have siblings and what they're doing. It shows some of the potentials, some of the potentials for where you're going with like your career and different things like that. There's always, this is where like free will and fate kind of come into question. It's like how much of the chart is fate and how much do we actually have control over? I actually think that it's a little bit of both. There are certain things that you are going to experience that you were karmically have to. It's like you have to go through that. You have to experience that. Now, once that event has occurred or once it has been like tipped off, what do you do then? That's where the free will comes in. Um yeah, right? Oh, it's totally interplay. It's totally interplay because it's like there's just there's certain events that are going to happen no matter what, and then once they do, what do you do with that? What do you do with that energy? What do you do with that situation? Um, so I think it's always a play of the two, right? There's always both going on at the same time. Um, so there's that, and I also think that there's certain conditions of a natal chart where an event will definitely take place at least once, but then once it's like I've seen this a couple times now, at least a couple of times now, where an event took place that you could definitely see in the natal chart, but then the next time that kind of aspect was triggered or that situation came up again, they didn't experience the same thing. They experienced something totally different. So it's like they have to it's like our it's like we have to satisfy that condition once, and then once we've done it once, we don't have to do it again. And then it becomes something that is more like a strength. Right? It's like it's character development. You know what I mean? Yeah. We only control our fate to a certain extent. That's I believe that too. I think that there's a lot of different outcomes that we have a lot of control over. And I think that it's really important to not obsess too much about specific transits because like I was saying earlier, you can be really stressed and really anxious about a transit, especially if it's like really exact to your own personal chart, and then nothing will actually happen. I have had that happen a few times, okay? um, so that's the thing too. Sometimes a trend that will come and pass and nothing happens in our own personal life because there are uh, it's more than just transits affecting a chart. You have to look at the progressions. There's other techniques called solar arc directions or primary directions, and it's like those things set up the circumstances, and then the transit will trigger that. But if those circumstances aren't set up in the progressed or the solar arc directions, and the transit comes through, it's like it's not actually triggering anything. So it's really complex, and I'm still wrapping my mind around it. It's crazy because astrology is so in depth and complex of a system. Yeah, definitely. So like when I'm looking at transits for somebody and I'm looking at say, okay, so let's say I'm looking at how the eclipse is going to affect you. I'm going to look at it over top of your natal chart to see how the transit affects your natal chart, but I'm also going to look at what yearly perfection you're in, so what your time lord of the year is. I'm also going to look at your progressed chart to see if that eclipse or that transit is affecting anything in your progressed chart, because that's like setting up the conditions, and then the eclipse is like a trigger, right? And that's what those are the tools that I'm comfortable using. So that's what I would use. Uh, as I evolve in my astrology practice and learn how to properly use solar arc directions, I'll be adding in that as well. Just I'm not there yet. Um, but yeah, so it's kind of like the eclipse can hit something or activate something in your chart, but if that part of your chart isn't even active for the year, it's like will it even activate anything? Like will it actually take place? I'm still uh I'm still working that out. I don't think that it does. Exactly. 100%. Okay. This is a great thing to this is actually great. So my chart is challenging as hell. It is not a fun chart. There's a lot of stuff in there that fucking sucks. Um but here's the thing, the people that are thinking that they are doomed, they're getting bad astrology advice, right? Like I said, there are certain things that only happen once in your life and it's in your chart, but once that thing has happened once, you don't deal with it again, um, unless you didn't learn the lesson, right? So they might think they're doomed, but that becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. There's always ways to work with the energy of a chart, no matter how bad the positions are. And I'll give you a great example. Um, so the fixed star algol, okay, the fixed star algol, it's Medusa's head, basically. It's a Gorgon's head. It's considered an extremely malefic star. It's considered to be really evil, and it's considered some old texts will say, like, if you have your ascendant or your sun or your moon conjunct algol, that it's like it's really bad and you're gonna like become decapitated at some point in life or so, like some crazy shit like that. Okay, they write some crazy stuff about the fixed stars. But here's the thing: in the myth, that head was turned into a defensive weapon, right? It was turned into something that redirected that same energy and saved who was it, Perseus or Hercules, whoever the hell is has that head, right, in that myth. It became a protective energy. So I think the same way about a lot of positions in the chart. Like, for example, we've been talking about Mars and Cancer. Mars and Cancer is considered to be in detriment. It's considered to be a very challenging position for Mars, and people get really bummed about it. I got really bummed about it reading about it because I have Mars and Cancer. I'm like, oh, that fucking sucks. But here's the thing: Mars and Cancer has a ton of very positive qualities about it as well. It's just that you have to use that energy correctly, right? Like I said, it's a very protective placement. It's a very like the Mars and Cancer will rise up to defend um, their own family or their own tribe or their own like identified with group, right? So it can be a super patriotic position, which of course is, depends on your political leanings. That can be really good or really bad or whatever. Um, like that kind of stuff. Like there's always a positive way for that energy to work out. It's just that some placements need more conscious effort. That's what I would say. Some placements need more conscious effort. Um, yeah. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, heck yeah, I love that. So like that right there is an example of how like you probably have some challenging positions, some challenging aspects, and you've gone through those situations, but come out of a better person, right? It's like character development. Um, you can have no bad placements and no bad aspects in your chart and still be a piece of shit. Okay. It happens. You become like entitled, or it's like everything comes really easily to you, so you don't put any effort in, you don't work, and then you don't develop. Um, so that's a thing. Totally, and I think there's a really big difference between like surrender, surrendering, and giving up. So okay, alrighty, what do we got? Bum 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 bum. Oh, what's up? I got you, Jen. I'll pull a card for you. Jenny, what do you want me to ask about? What do you mean you got no reason to be that hopeful? Psh, psh. There's always hope. There's always reason to hope. All right, so Jenny wants me to pull a card, so I'm gonna do that. Pulling a card for Jenny. That's okay. You can type a question here. It's all good. Do you want me to ask about the eclipse? Just a general. Anyway, when it comes to astrology and like your chart, the last thing that I want to say about this is I will always be an advocate for personal responsibility. Okay, so you were born with, yeah, definitely, Jenny. I'll pull a card for you for that. So you were born with a very specific chart in a very specific moment, in a very specific time, in a very specific place. That chart was intentional. Everything in there is yours to deal with. Not everything in there is about you, right? The world didn't stop spinning for you. Right, like I said, the chart can talk about your parents, your siblings, your neighborhood, your bosses, your teachers, your partner, your partner's family, your extended family. Like there's so much more in the chart than just you. So you're not in control of everything, right? However, there are certain things that you do have control over, like how to look at different positions, and how to work with different positions, how to work with different energies. There's always a way for you to empower yourself. And that is what I try to focus on in a reading when I'm doing astrology readings. It's like, okay, like I don't, I don't candy coat it. I'm like, all right, this is challenging. This is positive. This is beneficial. This might be, there's an initiation here for you. Um, but I'll always give you a couple of ways to work with that energy, whether it is by focusing on a different area that is harmoniously aspecting it, or giving you some ideas of how to work with that sign and planet energy, right? It totally depends. It depends on what's going on, right? But there's always a way to work with it. There's always a way for you to channel that energy, or to uh there's always a way. There's always a way. And at the end of the day, at the end of the day, prayer is so powerful, right? There I think that we discount the power of prayer a lot, especially in these esoteric and mystical fields. I don't know why, but we do. You can circumvent all of the astrology shit and just fucking pray, and that works too. Okay, so anyway, uh, yeah, I'll always be a firm believer of personal responsibility. Okay, Jenny. So Jenny asks, "Happy solar eclipse." Thank you, Jenny. Curious what my hot hands might reveal for Jenny to focus on or for the eclipse. Okay. Alrighty, I can do that. Jenny. Jenny. Jenny and the Jets. Ooh, that was a good shovel. That was it right there. Okay. What does Jenny need to focus on right now? Do 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 do. Jenny. Jenny. Okay. Oh, dude. 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 Okay, first of all, thank you, Jenny. Thank you. You know why? Because you're a magical freaking being, all right? And I don't know if you fully realize exactly how magical you are, all right? I just want to say thank you for always being so supportive of me on my journey, right? Because there are a few of you that have been around since day one, and I don't think you know how much I appreciate you. So I just want to say I appreciate you. Um, and you new people, I love you too. Just the OGs, they're OG. Okay, but seriously, Jenny, you just got some freaking crazy cards. I love this. So, gosh, how do I say this? You are about to usher in something completely new for yourself. You're about to master a skill. You're about to embark upon a new journey where you're going to need to leave behind some old burdens, trust in yourself and in spirit, and realize that you have way more control, and you have way more control than I think that you realize. That is the Magician and the Fool, and they came out at the same time, and it was like, damn. And underneath the deck, we have strength. I think this is my message to you every time. I think I say pretty much the same thing to you. It's just with different cards. And it cracks me up. No, you're magical, okay? You're magical. I was singing a song for you when I pulled these cards, okay? Um, so maybe actually, okay, sing a song for Jupiter, all right? Since he's in your I love that. Sing a song for Jupiter, okay? He's in your sign. Enjoy this natural boost, right? Enjoy this natural boost. Where do you want to go right now? What do you want to do? You're about to manifest some open paths, right? There's opportunities knocking. I don't know if you heard that, but you should have. Um, opportunity knocks. Where are you going to go with it? What are you going to do with it? I just got chills everywhere. I'm really excited. So that's kind of cool that you were talking about the Fool last night with Chance. That's pretty sweet. But yeah, there you are overflowing with this joyous, creative, abundant energy. So what do you want to do with it? Right? That's what you have to decide now. I can't tell you which direction to go because that's between you and spirit. um, that's between you and spirit. Have some more confidence in yourself. All right. You are the magician. All right. That's how you're showing up right now. The magician knows what it takes to manifest something in his physical reality. Uh, he's got the skills to do it. He's mastered all of the elements. That's you, right? You've mastered all of the elements. Perhaps you could play a little bit with the fire element as well, right? Um, especially with your Mars and Pisces by Aries rising. Um, with Mars right now in Cancer, play with some kind of ritual or ceremony with this fire and water energy. Literally, go be the magician for a little bit and play with all four elements. Actually, um, do something on this eclipse. As always, I will always advocate for grounding and protection and prayer, but maybe you could play with it a little bit and have fun. Have fun with it. Do a little bit of a ceremony. And yeah, yeah, dude. Hi, JLo. What's up, Sleepy McGee? Yeah, you freaking magical bean. I don't know. I don't know why you're asking me for tips. You're the magician. Damn, damn. That was exciting. Okay, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Girl, you gotta tell me how to say your friggin' name. RMA. Rma. Is it? Can I add like an E, like Rima? Like, all right, cool. I'll do 3 cards for you. Do you have a question, my dear? What do you want to know about? Yeah, right. Play with the water fire thing, like, right? I always loved, when working with leather, that it's like you're taking water and uh shaping earth, right? And also clay. Clay is like this too. You're taking earth and shaping it with water. And then with clay, you fire it in a kiln and then paint it with more water. And then fire it again. It's cool. Um, Word. How? Oh, I'm gonna get that on a shirt. Hot hands. Okay. It's love related. Never had your heart feel so ripped apart and ripped in 2 directions. I'm sorry, girl. All right, I'll pull some cards for you. Right. Okay. Um. So you want me to just ask about? All right. So I'm gonna do current situation, a card for what the challenge and obstacle is for you, and then an advice card. And I'll look underneath the deck as well, and we'll go with that. Yeah. Okay. Just give me a second to shuffle. So how can you move through this torment, basically? Or what do you need to do to move? Yeah, no, totally. I totally understand. Um, I think I think I got it. Also, you can message me on Telegram too. I know you have Telegram. Yeah. So maybe like, okay, let me know if this is a good question. So, um, what can you do to move through the torment? Let me know how that lands, if that's a good way to formulate the question for you. How to find clarity, okay? Or clarity or closure, right? Or I could simply ask like what's going on with love life, and that would cover it too. How can I move through it with clarity and closure? And you keep trying to do the right thing. Okay. Mm. Mm. Okay. So, first card that came out to describe the situation is the Devil card. Dun dun dun. Probably accurate for how you're feeling with this whole torment, heart being torn asunder kind of energy, right? Um, Couple things. First of all, I would say, um, if this other individual was tearing you down, pulling you down, or lying to you in any way, then good fucking riddance. All right. If they were encouraging toxic patterns or they themselves had really toxic patterns, then good fucking riddance, right? Sometimes doing the right thing is putting distance between you and another person, right? Sometimes doing the right thing has nothing to do with them at all and has everything to do with, well, how do you want to be treated? What are you going to allow in your life? Like, are you going to allow them to treat you in that way? And sometimes that literally just means moving away from them, and getting away from them. So with the devil card specifically, like there's always something about accountability and responsibility. But sometimes, especially with a Pisces sun, Leo rising Pisces sun, it can be really, really easy to take on responsibility for other people's stuff or other people's things or feel emotionally responsible for other people's responses and what they're doing, what they're feeling, how they're going to react to something. It's really important for you to learn some boundaries with that. And with Saturn moving through Pisces right now, I think that you will be learning boundaries with that. Um, Psychic and emotional boundaries are some of the hardest ones to actually develop. Um, but so necessary. And I giggled a little bit. Not at you. I'm giggling at myself because that's literally I swear to God, it's my favorite word. But it's true. Second card that came out, the challenge. The challenge of the obstacle is the Ten of Wands. Ten of Wands is like very heavy burdens, right? So this is just really describing the heaviness, the weight that you're feeling right now. Um and perhaps even like, I don't know, I'm kind of getting the sense of like, here's your heart and it's being like stomped on, which sucks and I'm really sorry. That's always a difficult place to be. So this grieving process is really important. Um I think that, I don't know, I kind of get the sense of like there's something about this where you're still holding on to it or still holding on to something that you really need to let go of now. Yeah, totally, right? And I think like this is true for probably everybody. But especially people that tend to be more empathetic, right? When we are extremely empathetic, um, yeah, when we're extremely empathetic, it's really easy to just take on other people's stuff, right? And that's just, I think that's a human thing. I think it's a human thing. It just happens to be that you have a Pisces sun, so it's like even more so. You know what I mean? Um, so there's certain things that it's really important to let go of, like what actually does belong to you and what doesn't belong to you. The stuff that doesn't belong to you, you can let go of now. Maybe some kind of I mean, this is going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight, but repeating to yourself like what belongs to me and what belongs to him or her, what belongs to them, and really like maybe even like checking in with somebody else that you trust that can objectively look at the situation. They can really help a lot with that to be like, okay, what is actually my responsibility here? Because sometimes it's really easy to be guilted and shamed into taking responsibility for another person's shit. Like I have personally experienced this, um, and it's not easy to see that is what's happening, but that's quite likely some of this, right? So Release what isn't yours, right? Only take accountability for your stuff, right? And the biggest thing that I think would be really helpful right now for you is to just ask, like, what is it that you need in this moment? The advice card is actually the Eight of Pentacles. So, what I'm going to say is actually some grounding and practicality, right? Doing something with yourself that is about like being extra kind to your body. Um, and okay, so there's a few ways to look at the Eight of Pentacles. It's a Virgo card. It's about organization. It's about being meticulous about something, practicing something over and over again, gaining discipline in something. But in particular, what I would say for you, especially because you have such prominent Pisces placements, definitely be focused on, or definitely try to focus a little bit more on getting into your body, working through whatever's coming up physically in your body, right? Because, like, if you have been taking on other people's burdens, right? Um, what do I need? I got you. I got you. Uh, uh, especially if you've been taking on other people's burdens or taking on too much from other people, especially, a romantic partner, um, really just tending to what your body needs right now is probably the best way to like just move through this energy, right? Because like Kat was saying, which is excellent advice, um, zooming out and time and distance really helps with just gaining perspective on different romantic things that have gone on and heartbreak especially. um, but the feelings are really intense and really strong right now, so where are they showing up in your body, and how can you be extra kind to those areas of your body? Phew. um Yeah. And it's so funny because a lot of the times, yeah, exactly. So because you're a Leo rising, Leo talks about your body, right? But your sun rules Leo. So wherever the sun is in your chart, tells us a lot about where you spend a lot of your energy and your time, and it really gives a major level of flavoring that we don't get from just Leo rising. So with Saturn transiting close to and eventually going over top of your sun, which is your chart ruler, you're going to be experiencing a lot of Saturn lessons. Saturn lessons have to do with responsibility, maturity, taking account, being accountable, but also building a strong foundation for yourself. Boundaries and saying no. I already said boundaries, but I'm going to say it 10 more times. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Um, maybe I will know what to do. Well, that's part of it, right? Like, um, interesting. The spine. There's that heaviness, right? So if you energetically take on stuff from other people, voluntarily or involuntarily, it can show up as sickness in the body. So, this is why this Eight of Pentacles is really screaming at me to just be really extra gentle with yourself and extra gentle with your body right now. Um, so I mean, I know I've seen you talking in different channels about like natural health stuff and all of that, so I know you're hip to that. Um, but now I think that it would be important for you to work on the energetic side as well. So literally, like, what you could do maybe, here's some homework for you. What you could do, a suggestion, is oh, hell yeah. Okay, I gotta talk about that too. What you could do as a suggestion is, since this last card is very Virgo energy and it's Earth energy, take just a few moments to make like a list or write down all of the things that you feel is your responsibility right now. Um, and then physically like cross off some of those things that don't actually belong to you, right? And then and then remake that list, but make it into two lists: what's mine and what's not mine, and burn the list that's not yours. All right. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm so into that fire ceremony stuff right now. Um, but yeah, that is something that just energetically can just start getting you into the habit of like, no, that's actually not mine, and this is mine, right? That's kind of the thing. Um, anyway, underneath the deck, just want to say underneath the deck as like a nice like little like a silver lining of hope, you actually have the Chariot card underneath, right? The Chariot card is about major victories and triumph. All right. It is about well, it's the Cancer archetype, so it's really about nurturing and feeling safe and feeling just nurtured in general. So this is about re-nurturing yourself, right? I know, I love that ritual. Turn off shirt. Okay, I don't know who you're talking to. Alrighty then. Um, so so use this opportunity, right? All of this difficult emotional stuff that's coming up right now. I love that you've got a mini cauldron. I love that you love burning stuff. That's a great way to use this. Uh, um, use this energy to really just care for yourself a little bit more, right? Be your own mama for a little bit. Exactly. There's your hope with that Chariot card. And I love that you're like, earlier, you're like, I have no reason to be hopeful right now, but like, you're actually super hopeful. There it is right there. It's helping you, that attitude, having that attitude of like, I'm going through shit, but I'm going to be triumphant is going to really help motivate you and keep you going. So, yeah, play with that. Okay. Oh, I got a troll. Cool. Well, sir, this is not OnlyFans, so I'm not going to be taking off my shirt, and you can go fuck yourself. Good times. Um, do I got any mods in the chat? Jenny, do you have a wrench? Yeah, hell yeah. Um, yeah. Also, I would charge for that. Okay, let's be real. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for your support, and I hope that that helped bring some clarity for to you for you know how to move through this. And like honestly, uh, it's thank you, Mel. You're the best. Um, rituals like little rituals can be so healing, right? They actually are very necessary for our psychological development, like literally. Um, and just engaging in little rituals is really it's healing, it's soothing, it's symbolic. It might not feel like it's doing much in the moment, but especially if you can help yourself cry or help yourself release some emotion, and just doing the symbolic burning is really, really helpful. Um, what do you mean, like trolls? Or this person's likely a troll. um, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm bringing in some humor now, but yeah, I don't know what you mean by that exactly. What's the kind of thing that would show? I friggin' bet. I friggin' bet. Eighth house sun. Mm-hmm. Give me that esoteric goodness. Oh, the love stuff. Well, um, maybe like the transits that you're experiencing right now might show. There's a pretty good chance. Um, there's a pretty good chance that it would show up. Like, I'm 80% confident. that stuff going on with love would show up in the chart. Um, and that 20% would be like the love stuff's not showing up, but it's very obvious that you're meant to be focused on like other family stuff or career stuff. And it's like, yeah, that is struggling right now because you're meant to be over here doing this. But yeah, typically I've seen it come up via like transits and progressions and stuff. Yeah. Hello, Grace. Oh, what's up, Grace? I appreciate that. Shout out to Juan. I love Juan. I love that dude. He's hilarious. All right, this is a good question. When I pull a card, how specific do I get with questions? Mm. Well, that depends on the question. Um, it depends on the question and what I pick up from the card. So, like for example, I just did a 3 card reading for a lady, and when did I get it? 127. I spent like 20 minutes, like at least, at least 20 minutes, going over 3 cards. So I can get pretty specific. And the more specific you are with your question, or the more I have of like a little bit of background context, the better I can answer. Um, yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm psychic. I don't think I'm psychic, so um I don't like to make that claim, even though, then things happen and I'm like, "Oh, okay. I didn't realize I was so spot on," and then I was. Um, but yeah, like I don't usually get impressions about like blue shirts and hot dog wielding wiener dogs and stuff like that. But every now and then, the question that's asked isn't the real question, and the real question gets answered anyway through the cards. Um, so yeah, I hope that answered your question. Okay, all right. What do you guys want to do now? If that is everything, if nobody else would like a reading, then I'm going to go hang out, do some other stuff. And if not, I'll chill for a little bit. Love you, buddy. Don't forget to lovingly tap that like button. I appreciate it very much. And if you're new here, also appreciate the subscribe. I'm on a mission. I'm on a mission to get to 1,000 subscribers. There's tools on YouTube that I'd really love to play with that I can't until I get up there. So help me reach my goal. In fact, if you could help me reach my goal by my birthday, that would be badass. Dare to dream, you know what I mean? Dare to dream. I got dreams. Let's go. Yeah. If you book through my website for an astrology reading or a tarot reading and you use the code Eclipse20, we can look at transits. We can look at your current chart. We can look at the eclipses. It doesn't matter. That hour is yours to do with as you please, really. But use the code Eclipse20 for 20% off of a reading. And with that, I think that I am out of here. Just gonna check my email one last time. And nope. Okay, cool. See you guys later. And I will be back another day very soon. Probably Wednesday, actually, day of the eclipse, to talk about the Mercury retrograde. Either Wednesday or Thursday. I haven't decided yet. All right, peace out. Have a